Hello guys and welcome to the channel. So today I've got this figure up, Quaritch from the Avatar movies, and I've been after him for a while now, and when the second film came out, The Way of Water, he was in the toy shop. There were quite a few of those figures in there, but unfortunately they went really quickly. And I bought this guy today simply because he came into that same toy shop and there was only the one figure there, so I wasn't going to take the risk. I didn't want to play the waiting game because basically I didn't know how long it would take before this thing to drop down, but I bought it for 40 quid. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet, but I don't mind because I love this figure. And I've got him in a kind of aiming pose, so he's got good joints on him, double joints, so you can get that telescopic sight right to his eye. As you can see there, that's a nice shot. I'm going to turn him around so you can see what else he's got and then move it on from there. So, coming to the back of this figure, you'll see that knife, which I'm going to pose out later. Of course the tail's there, that's the same as the other figures, that can be moved. And that sidearm, which I'm going to pose him with at some point. But that was just the back of the figure. So I've dropped the weapon and now you can see that face sculpt. And there are two face sculpts. You get this one and another one, you'll see that in a sec. But I prefer this one. This is more for like battle code. And I like the pulse rifle he's got. Could put that on my Nightmare Batman if I wanted to, but that's that rifle, I like that. And just before we move on, the hand at the top of that rifle, that's off my Jake Sully figure, because he comes with quite a few hand gestures, as do all the other figures, but there was no hand to grip that rifle properly, so I've taken Jake Sully's one. So let's pose him with a different head sculpt so you can see what that looks like. So there's the other head sculpt. Quite a neutral face, but it's good. And I know I'm going to use it, but I've wanted this figure for so long. I've got the actual other figures, Avatar figures, in another part of the room, but now he's on the scene, I'm going to put him central to my display, because I tend to do that when I get new figures. I like to see them pretty much all the time. But that's not a bad pose and not a bad head sculpt. So I'll put the other head sculpt on and show you him with the other weapons he has. So this is the sidearm now, and I've managed to get him gripping that rifle with the other hand, so I left it in, and I've kept in the same head sculpt. Wanted to see what that was like, and I quite like that dynamic. I'm going to try and do a better pose than that. Just going to try something. Thought I'd try something different. It's okay, I suppose. I'm more fascinated in the way this figure looks than its actual posing abilities, but I know it can do some good ones. So yeah, let's leave that one and move on. Well, you know me, I always like them on one knee or two knees, but I wanted to try this one. I think he actually does hold the weapon with two hands at times in the film. But I'll put the other head sculpt in just to see what that looks like, because I think it will give it more of a dynamic. So stay tuned. Now I like this one. I've changed out the other hand for the gripping hand for the knife or the dagger, but certainly that head sculpt lifts the dynamic of the pose. You know he means serious business. Let's come in close on that. I think I'm going to go through a phase of reposing this guy a lot because I'm liking him more and more. But I'll change it slightly, see if we can get one more before we move it along. And this one's better for me. I've turned him square on, lifted the hand weapon towards the sky and had the dagger facing forward, and that is a gesture you do see in the film when he fights like that. But it's really good. I love the detail on this figure. You can see that's body armour. It's well made for a level figure. For a figure at this level. So we'll move it on. So another straight on shot. I move the tail, angled the knife, quite like that dynamic. But I'm not going to do any more with him on his own. I'm now going to put the other Navi, that's the name of the indigenous people of Pandora, and the Navi. I'm going to have him in combat mode against them just to see what that looks like. So this is Quaritch against Tonowari, and I put him on his knees in your last bit of footage of this guy, but I just wanted to see what these two look together going up in an imaginary fight, and I quite like that. Let's bring the angle around just to see a bit more of him in the face. That's not bad. So that's Tonowari taking on Ash Recon, which is the name of the group. Let's find the next opponent. So this is Neytiri fighting Quaritch. Sounds like Quidditch. Would like to have done better combat poses for the pair of them, but I'm just trying to get it in the ballpark. And that's that angle. Okay, let's see if we can do a more interesting one for the last opponent. Stay tuned. So this is Jake Sully, the central character, and in Way of Water you would have seen these two fighting. Now that figure comes with a pulse rifle and I think a tomahawk, and he's got kind of dreadlocks, but I've seen pretty much all the figures in my toy outlet and I have to be selective. I've got the key ones simply because I really do like them as figures, but there's some awesome ones, but it's a kind of space issue thing, so I've got to go with what I've got and be happy with that. But who knows? Let's do another one with these two because I do like this figure and what he looks like with Jake Sully. So this is the other one. I'll come around to the front there, trying to get the focus right. Not a bad dynamic. Let's do the other side. I think I'll do one more without Jake Sully's bow and arrow. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, let's try that. So that looks a bit better without that bow and arrow, but you have to try every dynamic. Let's bring it round to there. And what I've done is change the dagger the other way round for Jake Sully to get that effect. Let's get round to Ash Recon. And that's not a bad thing there. I've got lots of things going on in my head right now with this figure that I'm reviewing today. but I'll probably be doing that for a couple of weeks, and if it gets that good, the pose, I'll probably put it on camera. But I'm going to just show you the last pose I'm going to display him as, and remove Jake Sully from this equation and just show you him as the last bit of footage for today. So stay tuned. So here he is, back on his own. Quaritch, hope that's the pronunciation of his name, of Ashri Khan. I'm going to keep that head sculpt on. I've changed the direction of the tail. I'm going to try another one. Whatever you see in front of you now will be one of the poses I will go with. Turned him at an angle so you could see that he's clearly pointing his weapon towards the heavens, because if I bring it round this way, the weapon partially obscures his face, so I've done it that way. Let's go on to the next one. Yeah, I tried to create movement there, as you can see. Try to get the impression that his legs are moving and he's walking through Pandora jungle. I'm not too fussed about it. I'm just trying to find my way with this figure when it comes to the poses. But I'm liking it. Let's try another one. Yep, square on there, move the tail again, lifted the gun higher onto his chest. Let's get a close-up of that face. Now look at those eyes and those teeth. Proper tough guy. Yeah, could be a possibility. I like to look at the poses from all angles because that's how I move about in my home, and if it's still looking good at every angle, I more than likely will go with it. So yeah, okay, let's try another one. Yep, he can actually lift 1 foot off the ground, which I like. Even more movement with the figure. I've heard that some of the joints can be loose on these figures, but I'm not getting it with this figure. Very tight, so he's not bound to fall over if you can get the balance right. Next one. So this one, kind of getting into the ballpark of how I will be displaying this figure. Not quite there yet. Not so much dynamics there, but it's simple and I do like the way it looks. So I think this well could be it. Very simple, nothing over the top, but I kind of like it. So what I'm going to do now is put him with the other Avatar figures, the Na'vi, and see what they look like all together. Well, I like these three together. I didn't put Tonawari on there, but I will do. But yes, that figure is good, and I will be posing this way in my display. And Jake Sully, he's in the same pose as he was when he was fighting Quaritch, but he might change. And Neytiri, she's in the same pose. Loads of personality, that figure. I really do like it. So those three together. Let's see if we can bring Tonawari into the equation. Might look a bit crowded there. So this is your final shot of all these guys together, and I do like the effect. So we're going to come in close for the last time on this guy who I've been reviewing. I like lots about this guy. I like that as a head sculpt, so I'm not sure if I'm going to stay with this head sculpt or the other one, but the pose is going to stay the same because I do like the way he looks with all the other guys. So we'll go over to Jake Sully. I will change him out though. Not that it's not a good pose, I just want to change him out. And then we go to Tonowari. I love that Maori tattoo work. I watched the film not long ago and he's quite a significant character in the film. Never got that impression when I first watched it, but he definitely is. And then finally over to Neytiri. Do like that. Come around to the side. Not much going on there. So the best shot square on, in my opinion. So hope you enjoyed watching the channel and some of the poses I've come out with. Maybe if you've got a few avatar figures yourself, you might want to faff around with them for a while. But for now, I'll say thanks for watching the channel and I'll see you again next time. Oh, and by the way, I just reviewed my King Kong figure, my NECA one, and I was calling the Skull Crusher, that's the little creature that grows into a giant creature and fights King Kong, kept calling him the Skull Buster. So I apologise for that. He is the Skull Crusher. So that's enough waffle from me. Thanks for watching the channel. I'll see you again next time.